I'm going to start by taking attendance. Raina Harper. Raina Harper?
Here and
Oh,
fierce.
there you are.
Thank you, Mrs. Jones. Welcome, everyone, to EveRe-Watch Way, where I podcast a spell that takes a hold of you. And as I said, I'm Raina Harper, and today we're doing Witchy One-on-One number 4. And I have an exciting guest on today, someone very much related to the magical world, the great author, fitness expert, and relevantly to this podcast, the actress who played the teacher Mrs. Jones in Every Which Way, Christina Groom. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellently. How are you?
Do, Doing pretty well this morning. It's yeah, it's crazy times, and we've had to do some crazy troubleshooting on trying to get this recording done, but we are soldiering on. And I've been, of course, covering every episode of Every Which Way chronologically in this podcast. I as someone who was a fan of it at the time as a teenager, and I reached out to you because of the memorability of the character of Mrs. Jones. I think there's going to be a lot to talk about there, but anything you'd like to say as we start off, Christina?
I it's so funny. I was actually a teacher
Yes,
before I became an actor, and when I was cast
amazing.
in the role as Mrs. Jones, the your regular normal vanilla human teacher at the show on the show, it was amazing. It just
Mhm.
felt like perfection. It was kismet. It was great. And it was so much
Amazing.
fun.
It was magical. It was prophesized. How would you describe the character that you played, and what made you want to take part in this show?
Um, it was, I mean, she was just the normal human being where all the
Hmm.
chaos is happening. And somehow, despite being this very grounded, very
Hmm.
disciplinarian style teacher, she never seemed to notice that there was magic happening. I mean,
Yeah,
everything that was strange that would go on, the kangaroos, the
yeah,
freezing, the explosions in the lab, it was just over her head. And
yeah.
that's always a fun character to play when you're that
Hmm.
person that all the things happen to but never seems to actually have any real knowledge of it.
Yeah.
It's comedy gold.
Absolutely. And we'll get into this soon, but the way you played it was definitely comedy gold. Like the so yeah the but first I'd love to ask where are you from originally?
I'm actually a native Miamian.
Miami.
So
And
yeah, lived in Miami my whole life. Shot the series in Miami, so that was, just one of those things where yeah, I'm a local. It's been wonderful.
yeah, amazing. Yeah, the show has that perfectly and authentically Miami where it's set. Gotta admire that about it. It it's yeah, it's very fun. And yeah, I first was exposed to the show Every Which Way like a couple days after it aired, and uh, like I heard an advertisement like in another room while the TV was on, and I distinctly like remember what was in the advert. It was Emma and Maddie like arguing back and forth, saying "Which please, which please," and I was like, okay, that sounds fun. So some like f- funny like hijinks and like cattiness with magical shenanigans involved. Uh, like ooh, like the magic of Wizards of Waverly Place back again, kind of.
And
And
it was just, it had this nice, um, there was an interesting feel to it. It felt
yes,
very modern and yet at the same time very much magic, and it was magical and interesting, and you had all kinds of little aspects. It was comedy, and it was really nice that it had a very nice Miami flavor to it, which you don't
yes,
often see in kids shows. So that was neat.
yeah. We get the footage of establishing shots of Miami, which are extremely sped up. That's one thing I noticed about it. I'd love to talk to the editors of this show someday, uh, hoping that can make that happen. But yeah, so I'd love to ask, like, when you were growing up, like, what were your as both an actor and an author, I'd love to ask what were your favorite like books slash movies growing up?
Oh, Well, uh,
Well,
movies are definitely.
You mentioned
Hmm?
one on your website, clearly.
Star Wars is my biggest influence ever.
Yes.
Very much a huge Star Wars fan. Very grew
Hmm.
up on that. I'm a child of the 70s and 80s, so
Yes.
that's my era. And then as far as books, I was also an avid fantasy reader,
Hmm.
and Lord of the Rings, the novels, was my go to. Huge Lord of the
Yes.
Rings fan and huge Star Wars fan. And then once I got into high school, I just developed an obsession with Shakespeare. So
Yeah. Yeah. Just a love for rich world building and characters. Uh, yeah, I can definitely relate to that, and many of my friends like growing up could as well. Being into the nerdy franchises, and like yeah, and and like of course for a while like yeah, the show Every Which Way caught my eye. I like kept up with it all the way through. It was very like um I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? It's set up. It's like soap opera style. Was so you started out as a teacher. What made you want to pursue teaching?
I being an English student,
Yeah.
English major in college, I had studied theater in middle school and high school. I went to magnet programs.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually very much into theater and acting. But when it came time to actually picking a college, I decided to pursue English.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that, again, because of my love of Shakespeare and literature, I became an English teacher. I wanted to share that love of literature and English with other students and get people to be involved and to be passionate about stories. And because again, acting is storytelling,
Yes.
books are storytelling, movies are storytelling, and then while I was teaching, I started a drama club at a school that had no drama program, being the
Good on you.
acting person that I was, and then that pulled me back into the world of theater, which
Mm-hmm.
pulled me into television and commercials, which got me onto Every Which Way.
Love it. That's what theater can do for you. Yep. Yeah. Theater is very important.
Yeah,
I.
it was, and that was the best audition experience I've ever had.
Mhm.
Where they were looking to cast a teacher, and it was a really kind of a last minute audition too.
Yeah.
My agent called me up and said, "Hey, they're looking for a teacher," and I said, "Okay," and I got the sides
Mhm.
emailed to me as I was driving to the casting, and I memorized them in the car,
Yeah.
and showed up, and I just stood in front of the casting director and delivered my lines the way I would have in my classroom.
Hmm.
And that was the first thing that I got back from the casting director. It said that, wow, you sounded like a real teacher. And I said, yes, because I am a real teacher. That's how it started. So
Oh
it was, yeah, it was one of those things where didn't feel like acting. It never felt like acting on that show.
man. Yeah. That's fascinating. And like I like look like with that knowledge I can like kind of see that like because like you know I I went this morning I went and like wrote down all the dialogue of all the Mrs. Jones scenes I could find. I love how like sort of like with such force you play it and yeah. Let me
And then, of course, I'm standing there between takes with the other actors, just, we're just laughing. And then the cameras start rolling, and I'm back to being very serious.
yeah, yeah. I, exactly. Man. The yeah, what was the experience of filming like for you? Did you find it enjoyable? Was it and like it, and any interactions like with other folks on set you remember most?
I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Hmm.
My job on that series was basically to be the teacher, to always, be the stern,
Yeah.
um, the disciplinarian on the show, and so everything that happened, all the chaos, that was always what the directors and the other actors were trying to get all of that right.
Hmm.
So I would just be the one who had to just deliver that same performance, take after take after take, to make sure that all of the craziness worked out.
Yeah.
So for me, it's pretty simple. I'd be the teacher. I was show up, do my, do the job, and make sure that I always did it exactly the same, because there was always the special effects and the
Hmm.
cut in the camera shots and all of those little things that were happening, that I was the least important variable in all the
Yeah.
other stuff that was happening. So as long as I was, doing my job, everything would come out amazingly in the end. And I would sit there and watch these episodes and go, wow, so that's how it came out. That's what it looked like. Because you never knew when you were in the actual moment what it was going to end up looking like on screen.
Yeah, exactly. I can imagine, like, yeah, I could, and it's definitely like admirable to like have the mode that you like are zoned in on, no matter the situation as an actor. Um, uh, and like, so at like especially so a few months ago was when I covered the first, well, like your season 2 episode 3, I think, which was your first appearance as Mrs. Jones, and like that scene when I was with my friend Riley talking about it. She and I went to college together, and we were like just like stunned at the energy, like how energetic this teacher was out of nowhere. like like so like her first appearance is like chastising Emma, and
Mm-hmm.
like for a teacher who like appears for the first time a full season in, or it's remarkable the way in which we're like expected to like know who she is already, and like like especially for how big and I'll say it, sassy she is, like 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 what happened in here? Care to explain yourself, Miss Alonzo?
It was, it was, yeah, it was. I mean, I came in. It was episode 203,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, this show has been on the air for a whole season. No. I'm walking in, and it is immediate. Like I'm just barging into, yeah, it was.
Who the
I
hell
was
is
like,
this?
this. Yeah, I was, how. I asked the director. I'm like, is there anything that you want me to? No, do what you're doing. Come in, like you are taking charge. And I was like, oh, okay. And
Yeah.
then and I honestly wasn't the way the show was cast and the way that happened.
Mm-hmm.
um I honestly didn't know how many episodes I was going to be involved in. I didn't
Yeah,
know if
yeah.
this was going to be a long time commitment, or
Mm-hmm.
if it was just a one and done. So I was like, well, I'm gonna make this count. And
Yes.
then I just kept. It was so fun, because I just get the call every couple weeks. We need you in. We need you in. And I was like, yay!
That's amazing. It you I would say you're this show's equivalent of you. I don't know if you've ever seen Wizards of Waverly Place, but there's this monotone woman who shows up every so often, like like and just says memorably funny things in a monotone voice.
Hmm.
Uh, um, uh,
Yeah, I was the straight man. That's what they
yeah,
call it. It's
absolutely.
the straight man character, where I'm there. I'm that dose of reality that makes all the ridiculousness so much more funny than it
Yeah,
would have been if it had just been everybody fully invested. I'm there going, I have no idea what's going on, but I have a job to do.
yeah,
That was how I approached everything. It's like, I don't care that there's slime all over the place. I have
yeah,
a job to do.
yeah.
So
And like but to the point where like I wouldn't want my teacher to act like that.
no. I even
Like
asked him, like, am I coming on too strong? No, you're great. And I'm like, okay.
that's exactly what was intended. Oh my god. Uh, like
Yes.
take away the context of the magic involved. So as a teacher, you come in and see just like a student like clearly like rattled and covered in chemical goo, as they say, and you're just like, what the hell's going on here? Care to explain yourself? But not just like they're like, there's a difference between whoa, what happened, and care to explain
Care to
yourself.
explain yourself. Miss Alonso. Yeah, it was
And
very,
you put
very,
both your hands on your hips. Hmm?
yes. Oh, yeah, it was, and it was literally like the direction I got was to march in. So my walk was pretty much that. It was, you're marching in because there has, something has happened in your classroom and you are now, and that was the other thing was that there was those translucent window panels on the
Yeah.
wall, and they wanted to make sure they they got my shadow
Yes.
coming. Like that was like that we want you, we want to get the shadow of you moving, and we want to see that you are really perturbed. I was like, okay. And those were the elements that were just so much fun.
Yeah,
Um,
but like, but like, what reason do you have to assume that Emma did anything malicious? Yeah, like,
it's a suspension of disbelief in a fictional world, but
yeah, and like
clearly,
the well, and like so you like immediately write Emma up for detention as a teacher, and then like the so we get to the scene a second later where you're walking Emma in the hallway, and she's like, "Thanks for letting me change first before detention, Mrs. Jones." And my friend Riley, I'm like, "Oh, or how nice of you, teacher." Why like instead, yeah, good on you to let her change, and like after chastising her, instead of maybe this chemical goo is like acidic and is like gonna burn her skin. It's very lucky that this goo was very harmless.
right?
Uh,
I did though. One of the things was the first every time I got a new script for an
mhm.
episode, the first thing I would do was look for the word detention.
Oh,
That became just my thing. Like, who am I giving detention to today?
you went Control F on it.
Detention?
Uh,
Because I
and
did. I did give a lot of detentions. I'm like, what?
yeah, um, but so and just so passed on from Mr. Alonso, Principal Alonso, you have a hatred of Daniel. Like every adult in this show hates Daniel, who's literally the nicest person. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
he's like the show's punching bag for some reason. Like his girlfriend
Hmm.
is lying to him. Every adult, including the principal, hates him. Just, uh, um,
Yep.
I,
He got,
I,
well, I'm not sure who got the most detentions though. I'm pretty sure it was him though.
yeah, honestly,
I feel like every time I saw a scene with him, I was giving him detention or
mhm.
writing him up for something.
Yeah, and so like Emma says like, "Thanks for letting me change first, Mrs. Jones," and then you say, "I'm just following school policy." That
Because apparently the school has a policy for exploding goo in the
she
science lab.
she knows exactly which article of the student guidebook to cite. Article 301, 311 in the student mishaps and messes section. Uh, yeah, yeah, I love like a funny bureaucrat character who's like, actually, like article da 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 section blah 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 is where this says that you can't do that.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
she has the handbook memorized.
yeah, when you said like they wanted to have the ominous silhouette of Mrs. Jones like approaching the scene, you know what other character they had that for? The evil principal. But it was a for her there was a magic shadow. So they're like making a callback with your character, like you're supposed to be reminded of the literal evil witch.
And it was very, very funny for me, especially, was the fact that I am a very, very tiny human being. I'm only 5'1.5", and all of the teenage actors were taller than me. So
Yeah,
I was this little tiny fierce force
yeah.
while being physically dwarfed by every single one of them.
So that's why you had to like put on a strong face.
Yes, it was what I did actually as a teacher. I had to
Mhm.
be very, very intimidating at 5'1.5".
Yes. Uh, yeah, I can imagine. And like, um, so, um, did did you have anything done like to your hair? Was it like was that how the way your hair looked at the time, or was it a
Oh yeah,
wig?
that was my actual hair. Yeah, I had my hair was a short red bob. It's now
Yeah,
gray. And much shorter, but but yeah, my hair was in a uh I went through stages where I grew it out, got longer, but I usually for Miss Jones I would end up every time for the new season I would cut it back to the bob so that it stayed fairly consistent um
yeah,
for that, and they would always style it the same way.
yeah,
The makeup artist would make sure to get it.
yeah. That's neat. Do you recall
Yep.
you recall the costume designer Ana Karina Hurtado Villaseñor? I actually interviewed her. She was like the lead costume designer for season two.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that was my first Witchy One-on-One. So just wondering if you recalled her at all.
Um, I spent more time with the hair and makeup than
Sure.
the costuming. Costuming was for me mostly quick checks,
Yeah.
simple, make sure, don't put her in the same colors as so and so, or that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Um, but because again, Miss Jones just needed to look like somebody who was in a classroom,
Down
and
to
so that
business.
yeah, business attire. My wardrobe was very, very simple compared to what I mean, the entire council had the most
Yes.
incredible costumes. I was very, very jealous of all of them
Yeah.
because I'm actually friends with a lot of the actors, and I was just like, oh man, I saw what you were wearing, and that was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. I was Lisa Correo, the Ramona actress. Um,
Yes. I met
was
I'm not I met her. We
yeah, yeah.
actually would chat during the scenes. So yeah.
That's neat. She's super fun. That was my previous interview to this one, and just like you, she started out as a teacher as well. Um,
Yes, we actually had that conversation one day. We're like, "Oh, that's funny."
yeah, uh, and both of you are on the shorter side. So,
But
uh,
she is taller than me. So,
wow, Fa-
yes.
fascinating. Yeah, uh,
But for me, they always made sure my hair was really straight because my hair is actually curly. So that was the other thing. They wanted that severe look. Um,
yeah.
the more
Uh,
severe, the better. Which became a challenge on the beach shoot.
oh
Um,
yes,
which was a really interesting. It was fun. It was also
yeah,
like it was a bizarre, strange set of circumstances
yeah.
with that particular shoot.
I'd love to hear what you recall about how exactly that worked, because like one of my guests was like speculating that like say Emma and Diego and such, they were like green screened in over like just like a still image, like essentially.
So there were multiple ways that they ended up shooting that.
Hmm.
Um, I am, and this is, they found out
Yeah.
on the first episode, which is why I ended up being used in a lot of the uh, practical on camera effects. I'm a
Hmm.
trained mime. So
Ooh,
I can stay perfectly still for a
fascinating.
very, very long time.
Hmm.
So that was something that once they realized I could do that, um, they used it to their advantage.
Hmm.
And because it's a lot easier to do things on, in real time, and at least have that to fall back on in case special effects don't work. And in the case of the beach
Yeah.
shoot, it was a combination of me being perfectly still, covered in fake ice, um, with mid bite, because that was the that was the whole thing. I was like, I had a wavy potato chip in my hand, because it actually started to melt in the sun,
Like
but it was
crumble.
between my fingers, like so it started like it's just and it felt really gross, but that was
Yeah.
I was like and so what happened was is they shot the sequence of us, pre being frozen,
Hmm.
and then once everybody's frozen, they had everybody, they did several shots to make sure everybody knew what their poses were.
Yeah.
um, and for me, because again, I was one of the primary actors in that sequence. They actually did the ice. They had me hold the pose while they
Mm-hmm.
covered me in the fake ice. And the fake ice was this very interesting concoction of little pieces of like it was a plastic and some
Oh yeah, yeah,
Vaseline and all this stuff that they coated me in,
yeah.
and then would spray things on to stick. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just layers upon layers. But again, I was completely frozen the whole time they did that. And then
Wow.
they, because they needed to get the angles right and everything else. And so from that point on, I could not move. And so they brought in an umbrella to shade me from
Mm-hmm.
the sun so that the
Yeah,
actual
yeah. I
fake
was gonna
ice would
say
not
boiling in the sun this whole time, right?
melt. Yeah, they were not cruel, but it
Yeah,
did, that way they didn't want it to melt into my skin because that would have
yeah,
been terrible.
yes.
So yeah, so they had the umbrella in, they had me completely covered, and then they shot several scenes
Mm-hmm.
with me in that
Mm-hmm.
pose. And then you think where I was going to be directly in the
Yeah,
background, and then they had uh
yeah,
they shifted angles and
yes.
they shot again where they had everybody moved. And they did a combination of like screen and
Mm-hmm.
they didn't actually do a green screen, they did a clean plate.
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining it. But I got to pull on this thread. Where did you learn mime skills? When did this happen?
When I was in middle school, I was going to a magnet theater program,
Oh,
and a mime who had trained under the French mime Marcel Marceau came
oh
to
my
our
God.
school, and he was a famous French mime, the one that kind
Yeah.
of popularized the white and black stripes and the
Yes. That's
so yeah, so
fascinating.
that was she had studied under him. She came to our school. She did, and then I actually took several workshops from that point on.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was teaching drama, I created my own little mime troupe, and we did several performances. They became actually they competed at states and did all
Wow.
kinds of lots of great.
Yeah. That man. That's so that
It's a
fascinating to
weird
hear.
skill to have.
Like like and to have learned it from a student of Marcel Marceau, that's not something I expected to hear today. Like
Yeah.
just, I'm gonna reach out to my friend Riley and be like, hey, remember Mrs. Jones? She's actually a trained mime who learned from a student of Marcel Marceau. She's gonna be like, what has happened?
I never met Marcel Marceau. I met his
Right.
student,
Well,
but
I mean, he died many decades ago. Yeah.
yeah.
Still, um, it, um, uh, I'm just bowled over by this revelation.
It's a weird, yeah, it's something uncommon. There's a handful of us that enjoy the art.
Yeah. It, yeah. I'd love to learn a few mime skills. That would be fun as well. With another aspect of the scene I like bring up to several friends about the like with Mrs. Jones is like the fact that you like analyze Daniel's hall pass to see if it's counterfeit. I've had a fair share of mean teachers in my life. None of them have to my knowledge, done that. Hmm. You know, I'm gonna look at this hall pass. Hmm.
It was that was yeah, that was I like again, there are moments that stand out. The freezing scene is one, me with that hall pass, the kangaroos, the
Yeah.
slime.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And like, and the fact that you say, like, let's go, and I've got my eye on you, Mister Miller. I saw what you did to Principal Alonso, and I don't buy that whole nice kid going to get water
get
routine.
water.
And Daniel's like, what did I what is going on? And I was like, yeah, that like my friend Riley was like, teachers don't get paid that much. Why are you doing so much? Why are you
She was extra. She was extra.
Exactly.
And she loved it. She was making her mark in a
Mm-hmm.
realm of chaos.
Yeah, gotta punch above your weight when dealing with wizards and nonsense. And then we get to I'll just recount the other couple of scenes with Mrs. Jones and just see the you get several moments to be iconically extra. I'll say, um, that like Mr. Miller, who like there's a situation with of course with Emma becoming invisible. This is season 3, episode
That was
13.
3.
Yeah, Mr. Miller, who are you talking to? Uh, no one. I was just practicing for a presentation, and that's how the Spain won the Spanish-Mexican War. Uh, I Mexico won the Spanish-Mexican War. I'm pretty sure most people call it this is not part of the quote, but I'm pretty sure most people call it the Mexican War of Independence.
It was yeah, my whole like the way I tore him down. That poor
Yeah.
that poor student.
Uh,
I was yeah. Everything was like no.
is it? I feel for Daniel. Like, why do all the adults hate me so much? Like, it's yeah, and then it would do you good to open up a book every now and again, Mr. Miller.
I remember that one.
Fortunately, starts pushing him out of the room. You're not in my class. Uh, uh, I was, yeah. Were you gonna tell his teacher like he's not up with the reading? I wouldn't put it past Mrs. Jones to do that.
No. No, I think I think she was gunning for the principal's position. It was that was a subplot. That was her goal was that was she was I had a
we
feeling.
we should have gotten that subplot. That would have been great.
I
Just
know.
like
Well,
how
I had all kinds of theories as to why she was always teaching a different subject area.
what was she? I didn't catch that.
She was the first episode, the science lab.
Oh yeah.
The second episode, she was there was um, one where she was in the math room, another one she was in the
Mm-hmm.
geography, social studies. And so I was like, I had this thing where she was like, obviously, she was trying to be the master of all subject
Yeah.
areas and prove that there was nobody at that school that was a better teacher than she was.
Yeah. Everything.
That was my subtext in my head.
Yeah. I can't recall any other teachers that we see apart from like Mr. Alonso in the first season. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
so
she was there. She was everywhere.
yeah, so
She was even
that
monitoring the cafeteria.
yeah, that kind of explains why you lay down the law so much if you're the only teacher. Like,
I wasn't the only teacher. I was just the best teacher. It's like, whoa, so who needs to...
clearly.
Clearly.
Uh, Daniel's like, okay, all right, I'm leaving, and then says to Invisible Emma on the other side of the room, we still have a lot to talk about. And then you're like, what are you, what are you looking at? um, yeah, that's an understandable reaction for sure. And then in that same episode is the Jax tearing down Jax scene. I was much more on board for that. Let me say,
Well,
that's just my bias. Like the lockers to the magical realm door closes and he's Mr. Navoa. Hi, Mrs. Jones. What are you doing what are you doing on school grounds after hours? And you do your signature thing of putting your hand on your hip again.
yep.
Uh,
Yep.
I can't think of an answer. Have detention? Yeah, I have detention. Yeah.
That
Well,
was... And I just... That was a lot of fun, that moment, because again, it was the way it was shot with, they had the two sets, actually.
yeah.
There was the set, the front of the lockers, and then the magical it was like, it was a fun little situation there. So I
Mm-hmm.
remember that was a lot of fun, and just to be so super serious and cruel, and yeah.
Yeah, that's Mrs. Jones, just wonderfully extra. And but like I can I it just reminds me of like nightmare teachers like turned up to 11. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who just like
They
won't
always
let. Yeah.
they always like it was either I had nothing in my hands and it was the hand on the hip,
Hmm.
the or I had the most colorful folders or textbooks.
Like a red purple folder with a red sheet of paper inside. I was
It
just
was
looking
always
at it.
something like, and it was just like, it was like bold, and I loved
Yeah.
it. It felt like so, it was, I don't know, there was something about like creating that imagery was just so much fun. And I always wore, and compared to everyone else, I wore much more muted colors.
Hmm.
So I was always in like this darker green or darker
Yeah.
purple. Like I was always and I always had gray. Every
Hmm.
outfit I wore, except for the bathing suit, had some gray element in it, just to like make sure that I
Yeah.
was like super, super vanilla.
Color
It's like,
theory. Yes. That 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 like reveals some like intentionality behind the way they, chose outfits and things.
mm-hmm.
Um, like um, did I don't know if you ever like noticed this, and I've mentioned this numerous times at this point, but like the amount of statement necklaces. There's statement necklaces on like everyone all the time. Do you recall ever wearing any of those or
I
like being
had
asked
no
to?
jewelry except for I think I had earrings, but I don't
Sure.
know how. I think you could only see them once, because I
Yeah.
always had I was the one that I was no decoration.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was always a simple either a professional styled sweater or a button up
Yeah. Yeah.
shirt, a jacket, like something. I was always very very plain, except the severe hair.
Yeah.
Um, the most simple makeup that you had on any of the adults.
Right. Yeah. Uh, and like, yeah, that's very very like austere and severe as they might be giants would say. Uh,
Yes.
and then then like the Panthers, like Maddie and her group would wear like very very bright and bold colors and like loud statement necklaces. And
Mm-hmm.
Andy, of course, having her tomboyish outfit and the one purple streak in her hair, which is very amusing. Um, Emma, as one of the other costume designers said, is a hippie chick. Yeah, uh, yeah. Everyone has their thing, and like a marking who they are visually, which is really cool. Um, so I'd love to ask as well, when did you get into writing and like wanting to publish a full novel?
Oh, so I've been acting my whole life and I've been writing
Yes.
my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I was always the drama kid and I was always the English kid. So I was writing short stories and you know tried my hand at writing novels that never went anywhere all my life, and eventually had an idea for the novel that I ended up publishing, which
Yeah.
was to blend my favorite things, Star Wars and Shakespeare,
Mm-hmm.
into something new, and um, and make it gritty and adult. So definitely a break from Every Which Way, which
Yeah.
was very wholesome and pure.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so I wrote this novel. I started writing it uh, back in 2009,
Mm-hmm.
and then just kind of worked on it here and there, little by little, piece by piece, and then shelved it pretty much. Didn't touch it after about 2016,
Mm-hmm.
and then. Not to make things sad, but my father passed away, and he had always
Yeah.
wanted me to write and publish. So I made a
Yeah.
promise to myself that once I finished something, I was like, all right, I'm going to finish writing a book. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
actually, see it all the way to the end, have a
Yeah.
clear conclusion, and
Mm-hmm.
then have other people read it and tell me if it's
Yeah.
any good. And so that was the promise I made to myself. And if it was good, then I was going to do all the work necessary to get it published.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up happening was I finally, that was the kick I needed was, my father didn't live to see me publish, but I dedicated the book to him, which is ironic because there are terrible, terrible father figures in my novel, but
Yeah.
he was a great one. So it's like the irony of ironies. I'm dedicating the book that has all these terrible father figures to my incredibly wonderful father.
Yeah, that that's yeah, that makes sense actually. And like just trying to like yeah explore different yeah themes um and like yeah I'll tell you I lost my dad when I was young actually um and and yeah just the uh, definitely like thinking about like the all the things that he had passion for definitely like inspires me day to day as well I would say um uh,
And I've
and
actually since my father was an artist.
mhm,
He he never he made art. He was a musician. We actually performed in a band together for a long time. And so he and I, I inherited this, I explore all areas of creativity. So
yeah
the book that I'm working on now is actually short works, short stories that take place in the
mhm,
universe of this science fiction fantasy blend world that I've created. And each of the stories is accompanied by original piece of art that I've done. So
that's
that's
amazing
now and there's also like each of the songs that are in the books because each book has a song that was written for it. Again, drawing inspiration from Tolkien, one of my icons.
yeah
And that was I've written the music for that as well. So
yeah
again, just dabbling in all the different
right
things. And then when I go to conventions, I cosplay as my own character. So I do it all.
you have to if you don't who else will if you don't yeah uh, and yeah how would you like describe like giving a pitch to your books for the for those who you're wanting to introduce them to
Well, I would say they're adult science
hmm
fiction because there's violence and some
hmm
harsh language.
right
Because I wrote it as it's been described, it's Star Wars meets Shakespeare meets Game of Thrones. Because it's political. You have that political drama where you have people who are trying to get on top, being the one in power. You have the violence and grit and that element because it's
yeah
based on Shakespeare's tragedies.
yeah
Specifically, the first book in the series draws its heaviest inspiration from the Scottish play.
oh
Um,
yeah
the one that we actors never say. So that's that tragic hero arc. It was basically I said, what if what if Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars was more like Shakespeare's doomed Scotsman,
hmm
and was that level of violent and betrayed those closest to him in order to protect others that are close to him
yeah
and his own ambitions. And so that's what the story is, but it blends science fiction elements. So you have war machines, you have high atmospheric battle, you have magic suppressing technology, but then you have this very hard, very clear developed magic system with very specific rules and a political element where again, if you have magical beings, the people in power want to make sure that they control them in some
hmm
way so that they don't
yeah
end up turning against them and taking power for themselves.
yeah yeah of course that sounds like there's a bit maybe of like Dune influence as well am I right sure
I mean, there's influence from everywhere.
sure
There's
well I mean Dune was an influence on Star Wars in the beginning for sure so
yes, oh,
yeah
Dune heavily influenced Star Wars, absolutely. Um, but I again, most of the inspiration has been drawn from classical literature.
hmm
So it's very much a blend of the Shakespearean tragedy. There's heavy Arthurian legend elements in
hmm
it, the tragic elements like the Mort d'Arthur, and then there's also some of Milton's Paradise Lost
yeah
woven into it. The character of Lucifer in Paradise Lost
hmm
being
yeah
this the best and the brightest and becomes the villain.
yeah exactly I I mentioned this to you earlier I was able to read the first few dozen pages of your first book this morning yeah
Oh
already
yeah, oh the first that's it's a whopper.
Some
The book is
tragic
thick.
events already. Yeah.
The book is thick, and it starts with a heavy dose of tragedy right at the beginning.
Hmm. It,
I pull
it's
no
like,
punches.
yeah, it reminded me of like Attack on Titan in that way. Honestly, just you get no punches pulled right off the bat. Like you're gonna get see people like bitten in half,
I
essentially.
am. I actually drew. So that was funny. Again, the Game of Thrones side of it. I was influenced by the first novel, A Game of Thrones, of A Song of
Hmm.
Ice and Fire,
Yeah,
in my prologue,
yeah,
because in The Song of Ice and Fire, he set up the entire conflict of the series in this one prologue, told from the point of view of a character who gets killed off
hmm,
at like he's dead.
yeah.
Like he doesn't even make it out of the prologue.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
know, Sir Wayman Royce, we barely knew ye.
Hmm.
And so that was my kind of that I was like, oh, I he literally pulled us into this world with a character who, like, you have these, three rangers in the north, and they all I mean, one of them manages to survive and then dies later. So it's
Yeah.
very much like you kill them all off right at the bat, and now we're going to be introduced to a whole new set of characters, but all of what's happening is connected back to that prologue. And I went, that's a wonderful way of starting something, because it really
Yeah.
kind of sets the reader a little bit on the back foot. You're like, whoa, I don't, what happened? And so
Gives you
that's
a
what I did
jolt
with
and
this
it's super
novel.
creative. Yeah.
Was I set up, every single thing that happens in the entire, not just the book, but the entire series now relates
Hmm.
back to that chapter, and everything that happens to that little girl in that sequence. It ties into the second book in the series, and it definitely ties into the third book that I'm currently writing, which is a prequel.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, I'm definitely more intrigued now, hearing that way you thought about structuring it. Um,
Oh
uh,
yeah, there's themes upon, like, it's all.
I love writerly nerdiness, and just like the excitement you get from it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and if you the thing I always tell people, if they have any kind of knowledge of Shakespeare, especially that particular play that inspired this one, I drop in so many little Easter eggs, like
mhm.
just those little nerdy things, like he, little nods to lines, little nods to names. Most of the names come from uh, a lot of them come from Shakespeare.
Yeah,
Not the main characters, but the supporting characters are all like kind of twists and turns on Shakespearean names, and lots of fun.
fantastic. Yeah, I really can't wait to get to the rest of the book, and yeah, see all that you intended to be there. Yeah. Um, and
Thanks.
yeah, as,
I say I'm
um,
the cheeriest person you'll ever meet who writes really dark fiction.
sure. Yeah. Uh, and like, yeah, in terms of, yeah, one, um, yeah, and one thing I've like sort of like, I like thought about every which way in general is like say what you want about every which way, like, because of course, like, uh, uh, I mean, like family members that have like definitely like roasted it a lot, like from clips I've shown them, and like yeah, like you can poke a lot of things about it, but like it's a magical franchise where, as far as I know, the creator is not a raging transphobe. So
Yes,
um,
and the production team on everything about that, I feel like, was a wonderful experience. Like, I have there's no negativity associated with that show in any way. I
mm-hmm,
think it was a very wholesome project.
mm-hmm,
The cast was all the kindest people you could ever meet,
mm-hmm,
which is, something, again, you don't see very often. In terms of,
yeah,
everybody was wonderful. The entire production crew. It was just such a sweet, wonderful, wholesome
yeah,
group of people. And
mm-hmm.
yes, there was no, as far as I know, nobody has gone and started, negatively impacting anyone else's lives,
Right.
for financial gain.
Yeah, like
So
so at several points I'd be like, this reminds me of a certain wizarding franchise that I won't name because screw you.
Yes. Yeah, you'll notice I don't have anything on my shelf. And I did. There was a time where I had lots of things on my shelf and they're
Oh,
gone.
we all did. Yeah.
It's
But
like,
yeah, and like yeah, looking you up earlier, I was like, oh, glad to see you have like trans allyship posts that put up on social media. Good, but she's
oh
good.
yes. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no, yeah, I'm definitely one of those people. I'm not afraid to say, no, I stand with my trans friends and family. I stand with all LGBTQ. You cannot have one without the other. There's no taking letters away.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, and like the what like I was like there they like in the show that like they mentioned a few times that like Andy has like never had a crush or anything. So I was like, oh my god, Andy, aromantic represent, yes. But then she got a zombie boyfriend. And I was like, oh,
yeah, but I mean, he's a little lifeless.
yes, yeah. Um, I, now I'm wishing there could have been a scene between Mrs. Jones and Philip the zombie. That would have been so great.
I was actually very sad that I mean, I was never, there was never a scene I was in an episode with, but I never got to actually do a scene.
I can imagine like, excuse me, what are you up to? Uh, uh,
Ugh.
like, what are you doing? Uh, oh, I see how it is. Detention.
That that's a show, and that's the thing. This was a show that I was actually very sad to see go.
Yeah,
When it ended, I was sad.
it was like, yeah, it got a full 4 seasons, but it was like done like it was done and dusted in a year and a half basically. It came out like very quick.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So yeah. Anything else you'd like you want to make sure folks know about your time working on it at all, or
Um,
experiences from it?
I'm amazed. It always amazes me and tickles me, and
Hmm.
just to have people when the show was on,
Yeah.
um, actually, reach out to me as an actor, like, "Hey, you played Mrs. Jones," and I was like, you know, Miss," like, because
Yeah.
again, it was a show focused on the students, and so and again the magical elements, you
Hmm.
had the Wizard Council, you had the all of the crazy shenanigans going on at the school with the different students and the changing, the new cast members there and
Yeah.
all of those developments as the series went on, and to have the stern mortal, normal human
Hmm.
who came in and was pretty much, she was always the killjoy in
Yeah.
every instance.
But
Um,
you gave us plenty of laughs, I'll say.
it's just, it's so wonderful that has just, it's continued to resonate. And
Yeah.
it was something that took me by surprise. I never, in a million years, thought that I would ever be recognized for the role. And it has happened, and that's been completely mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
And then just to have, again, years later, have so many fans of the show that this still means something, and that's just,
Hmm.
it's a wonderful. It speaks volumes to what the show tapped into.
Absolutely. Like it's like again, say what you want about it. Like I have like there are very few shows that I could find myself like talking for many hours about like every little like thing that's like no other show has a vibe quite like this one does.
No,
Um,
and a friend of mine had a young daughter at the time that I was actually doing the show,
mhm,
and once she saw me on TV
mhm,
and had, she'd seen me in person a million times, and then
yeah.
she sees me on TV as Miss Jones, and then it was, can you get autographs? Can you tell, like, can you say hi from, and it was very much a matter of, like, suddenly I was the liaison to this
Mhm.
magical world that was, everything. She was obsessed with the show, and then I show up on it, and then she was like, "Oh my gosh, you know all these people,"
Yeah.
and it was just, and she was probably like 5 or 6 at the time that she was obsessed about the show and wanted me.
Mhm.
She's like, like, can you tell them I love them? And I was like, okay, sure, absolutely.
Wow.
Like, I know you're not really mean in real life, and I was like, no, I'm not.
That's oh my god, that's so fun. Uh,
Yeah, and it was funny because her biggest obsession was Aggie.
yeah, the
That was
that may be for the best. His accent, and his goggles. There's the bit in like at the in the finale of season 2 where like wind blows and he like flips over a couch. It's like the my friend Riley and I were speculating like there must have been so much of the budget spent on like insurance for all the different like animals and stunts and weird things.
I mean, I don't know if there was actually a lot of insurance on stunts. They had
Yeah.
us. I mean, a lot of us are again, for most of the cast, at least the adult cast, we're all stage performers.
Hmm.
So we do live theater, and we
Yeah.
are all very physical actors. And so I think, for a lot of us, it was like, can you flip over this couch? Absolutely, we can.
Yeah.
Can you hold a pose for 2 hours while we put fake ice on you? Absolutely.
Uh,
Those are the things,
During a sunny day outdoors.
but
Uh,
that's, what we do.
uh,
And of course, all of us are, continuing to work in, various different projects. So, um,
Absolutely, fantastic. Yeah. It was. Yeah. I think that's where we'll sort of wrap things up. It was so great to be with you, Christina. Thank you
oh,
so
it's
much for
great to
coming
chat
on.
with you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for having me on.
Yeah. I hope. Yeah. Hope you get to like share this interview around once I'm able to edit it and like uh, maybe inspire more folks to come on. I've been trying to get in contact with folks for sure. Um, so yeah. Anything else you want to say as we sort of wrap up at all?
No, just thank you so much. And thank you to all the fans of Every Which Way.
Yes, it's a truly magical. There we go. Um, the yeah, Lisa Correo told me about how she developed her signature gesture, like the letter C as a witch. Like
Ah!
that, yeah, and I've yeah. Any idea what your signature gesture would be if you were a witch? I don't know.
Oh, if I had powers, I mean, it would definitely be something quick and hard, and I mean, because Miss Jones it would probably be a quick finger, almost like the finger was a wand.
Yeah, yeah, just like
Yeah,
that.
and then it would immediately teleport people to detention.
There, or excuse me, teletransport. That they
Just
always say that. Yeah, yeah. The
Yep,
the that
and
we
then bam, they would just be in detention.
plot twist. Mrs. Jones was a witch the whole time. That would have been great.
That was the theory was she was pretending this whole time, and she was really a secret spy.
Oh yeah. So many theories you could come up with about this show.
There's no way she was that oblivious. No.
Right? Like one my personal favorite fan theory I don't is that Sophie isn't actually a ditz and that she's actually incredibly smart and like playing some sort of long game. You know what I'm talking about. Um, like
So we,
she's
we need a reboot.
yeah, uh, yeah, where it turns out that like oh the one thing I envisioned is like Gigi misinformation like becomes a congresswoman like the AOC of her universe, um, and like lays down some speeches. But, so that this show could make for an amazing reboot. Let's
Hmm.
write some letters and make it happen.
Where
Yeah,
did yeah? Where do these people end up?
Exactly. Thank you so much again, Christina. And
Thank you.
anything else you'd like to plug? I'll make sure to share all your website and social media and book links in the description, of course.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, check out her books. C.E. Groom writes, absolutely, and it was so great to be with you. Follow EveRe-Watch Way, everyone watching on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Share it around to people that you know. Give it a like, all those things, and stay healthy, everyone. Have an excellent day, and finally, best magical wishes.